Hello and welcome to the LCS Championship delivered by Grubhub. We're coming to you live from the United Center in the beautiful city of Chicago. 100 Thieves, they booked their ticket straight into the finals with yesterday's full 5-game best of 5. Now they look to take down Cloud9, who've been awaiting their opponent all week long. Plenty of fans in the arena today. Where are the outside shots? For those of you who don't know, it's been thunderstorming outside of the arena today. We're very happy to have all of the fans inside, hopefully dry and warm. Plenty of support for both of our squads, though, as they get ready to do battle inside the United Center. Now, as we move one step closer to crowning our LCS champions, we also move one step closer to our 2022 World Championship. And so just a quick update, because while we are one of the last of the regions to crown our champion, we have 24 qualified Worlds teams. Here's a quick look at them. Now, I'm not going to attempt say them all, to list out all 24 qualified Worlds teams, so congrats to all of them. Can't wait to see them do battle on the international stage. But this is what we really wanted to get to. The fact that Jensen, with their win last week and ending top 3, has booked his 8th straight ticket to Worlds. That is a global record.
And it's so incredible. It's since he came over to North America, he makes Worlds.
That's just it.
Yeah. Straight up.
Exactly.
It's on your team, you're going.
I thought there was more to that sentence.
And,
and then I realized, yeah, there didn't need to be more to that sentence.
Worlds.
He also doesn't seem to age. He looks very similar in all 8 of those pictures.
Yeah, historical footage is very confusing of Jensen.
He found our time machine, Dad.
Oh no.
Well, congrats to him. Although I know for Jensen though that while qualifying for Worlds is great, he wants to hoist that trophy right here in this stadium once again. And as we are and have arrived at our kind of 10-year anniversary summer finals, we thought it'd be a good idea to kick things off by refreshing and reflecting on some of our favorite finals from the past decade. So Emily, we're going to start with you.
Yeah.
What'd you bring for the class?
So playing to the crowd a bit, but also I really like this series watching as a fan. It was the first C9 win ever when they came in from qualifying. There have been a lot of hype around this team, and to have them come in, this, by the way, is apparently one of our producers' favorite plays that happened in the series, was just High coming over the wall and killing Reggie there. But yeah, it was really cool to see how they came in. They delivered on the hype that people were kind of talking about in scrims. It set off this legacy that now we're going to be re-hitting on throughout the day for Cloud9 as an organization. So yeah, it was just fun to watch as a fan. Like back then I wasn't writing, I wasn't doing anything but playing League of Legends and watching, so it was cool.
It was also really cool because they didn't drop any games in playoffs through their first 3 splits almost before they lost in finals, where they had that 5-game series to TSM in summer 2014.
And I just want them to roll mine because I had 2 that I loved so much.
You put both down?
But I didn't put both down. I was struggling. I was having a brawl with my producers on which one I actually got to roll. I'm just going to start out with one that I think that I had there, which is Houston.
Well, wait, why don't we let them roll it?
Yeah.
I was going to say, here we go.
It's not Houston.
Yeah, not if TSM's involved.
This is yours. Why are you squinting at the screen?
Yeah,
oh my goodness.
Nocturne only won.
Oh, it's CLG, God bless. Okay, because then I saw C9. This was the Madison Square Garden moment. Because at me, early on, playing much like what you mentioned, as a CLG fan, I just wanted them to win a championship. It also started the reign of Doublelift's trophy case.
Yep.
So even though people who were at the stadium at the time saw a 3-0 finish, it was just one of the most amazing moments for a player who is, top 2, but definitely the best AD carry in our region, being able to set foot on his reign in the region.
Rush hour time, turning it around.
It's beautiful, man.
Turning it around.
It was just really cathartic, right?
Yes.
To watch. Like obviously there's the crowd in MSG. It was such a great event. And then to have this kind of narrative ending the Doublelift's trophy case meme and empty subreddit sat there for forever. Someone sat on that for a while. It was just really, really awesome.
Yeah, it was. And I remember just the splits afterwards. This team was just so dominant, and they were just unashamedly themselves. The level 1 creativity, the creativity in their drafts, the way they played towards Zion, and of course this moment, a hotshot just tearing up with his team getting that championship over TSM too. So it was one of the biggest moments for me as a fan at that time of CLG, and just the people in that stadium.
That was mine too.
Okay,
So-
see, that's what it was.
So yeah, we're
Yes.
good. We're good. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
You know what I
it
love
was such a
about it
great
though
moment.
is in real time they edited it out
Yeah.
of the
Yeah.
teleprompter.
Switcheroo.
Chad's
He disappeared.
favorite finals, yeah.
It was a
because
blind vote.
We all
That's-
knew.
yeah.
See,
yeah.
that's when it was a blind vote. I was having the conversation with the producer because it was like, if I can't do this, fine, I'll do Houston. So I guess that was the conversation.
No, I love that we double up on that one because I think that that speaks to the moment, right,
Yes.
of that Madison Square Garden final, and to go from 0 trophies to kickstarting what would become the fullest of all trophy cases for double lifts here in the LCS is pretty damn cool.
For me, it was actually a Toronto. For me? Back in my day, I liked the Toronto final. It was a 3-1, I believe it was, but that was probably the craziest a crowd felt like it had gotten. Obviously, there are a lot of Canadian players, and so having one on their home turf, having them absolutely pop off. This was also one of the most legendary plays we've ever had was in this finals, and this was the play that kind of turned around. It looked like C9 was coming in for potentially setting up a 5-game series, and then this play stuffed that. And so just the level of play was really good. It felt like the crowd was absolutely crazy. So many great things about it.
I believe that was Jat and Azael popping off over that
I mean,
one,
yeah,
right?
that was Azael saying, and he takes over.
Yeah.
Right there, another close call. Couldn't quite finish off the finals.
Correct
Such
me
a
if I'm
moment.
wrong. Was Toronto, was that the birth of the pigeon as well?
No,
No,
that was
that was
Vancouver. Okay,
There
I knew it was Canada. I couldn't remember if the pigeon had landed
A
in Toronto or
typical
Vancouver.
American doesn't understand cities differentiating each
North
other.
American.
I'm upset.
Typical North. Includes Canada.
Wow.
Okay, let's move on. If you want to share your own favorite finals, you can pop off with the fellow LCS fans in the official LCS Discord. Head on over to discord.gg/LCS to join. And while you're getting set up in the server, we're going to step away. We'll see you back here in just a few.
Oh.
All right. Welcome back, everyone, to the LCS Championship, delivered by Grubhub. As we welcome you back into the United Center. Ooh, Team Liquid showing up for the fans. And plenty of fans we have, loving the representation across the board. But we are also lucky to be joined here on the desk by Eli Henry, DeJour Jones, and Dan Peralt from Players. Gentlemen, I know you've been here all weekend long, but DeJour, I'm going to come to you first because I already see you sporting a 100 Thieves jersey.
Yes.
All right, so I have to believe you were very happy with yesterday's result.
Oh yeah. I mean, it was amazing yesterday. Like, you could feel the energy. Like, it was just pulsating through the whole entire stadium.
Did you expect it to be as close as a 3-2?
Oh, I mean, you know, I had my hopes, you know, so, you know.
Hope of the, you know, they had to do it for the drama, though, right? And that's what you guys are all very, very keen on is drama.
We're also very keen on silver scrapes, and so for you, these guys to see their first silver scrapes, that meant something.
Ooh,
yeah,
hell yeah. We've had, what was it? It's 11 series, 8 silver scrapes here.
Yeah, 8 silver scrapes in every single losers bracket game went to 5.
You guys are getting spoiled.
Eli, you got to play a coach in Braxton. How is it kind of matching up with your experience watching what those guys did yesterday?
I think that in terms of how they're behaving, to me, looks right. So they're doing a great job down there.
It's good to hear.
Yeah. Mimicking the person who was mimicking the coach. They just nailed it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
My question is, what really held Fugitive back from making it all the way
Today?
To the finals this year?
You know, a few things. I think the largest factor, obviously, like, you know, there's a lot you have to do. I think the biggest factor is that we don't actually exist.
Oh,
yeah. If I had to pick one
that
thing.
piece slipped my mind,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I'm glad you were here to center me on that.
That's what they have me here for.
So it's fine.
Yeah.
Dan, I know that Players has been an absolute labor of love for you. We met, what was that, 2015, 2016 All-Stars, I think, when this was a seed of an idea.
Yeah.
Now that it's kind of come full circle, and obviously we want that season 2, like, how does it feel, you know?
It's unbelievable. I was just telling these guys, like, I used to go to these events. I was in St. Louis and Detroit and watching the screen, having no idea what was on the screen. And I was also terrible at League of Legends, and now I'm still terrible at League of Legends. But just to see everybody here and to see these guys interacting with the real thing, it's really surreal.
Now, I know there's, did you want to?
No.
You didn't?
I mean, I was telling you that was a
questions
good
about
answer.
some upcoming projects?
Yeah. Well, I am. Everyone does want to know about season 2, but you probably can't say that yet. I do want to know who you think is going to win the series today.
Well, I like that question.
Look, we're
Well, we
split
know the
here.
answer here.
Yeah,
Thieves,
he's
baby.
already answered.
Just saying.
Is it like 3-2, 3-0, 3-1?
I think, okay, maybe 3-2.
Maybe 3-2.
I got Cloud9 3-2.
I'm going to go for a bit of a
Tiebreaker?
wild card. I'm going to say that Evil Geniuses is still going to take this.
I like it.
You know nothing.
Jojo never says die. Gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us. Make sure you check
Thanks for having
out
us.
Players on Paramount Plus. We're going to get to a quick word, actually, an inspirational set of words from our very own coach here, Braxton. Take a look.
Last week, we lost. All of us. We lost games. We lost a series. We lost a part of ourselves. Today, we have the chance to take that all back. You know your roles. You know your lanes. Get Baron just back. No mistakes, no do-overs. This is the fight of our lives. And we're gonna win. Whatever it takes. Good luck. Have fun. Was that good? What do you think?
That's obviously from Avengers.
Yeah, but I mean, did anybody really see that movie?
It's Avengers. Do you have anything that you could like do that's you, like it's original, that's, you know, not from a movie?
No.
I
I see what he means now when he says that he feels like the coaches are doing it exactly right.
Yeah, they just quote movies.
Up there on the stage. All right, as we reset ourselves towards our LCS Grand Final, I want to talk about being on the precipice of another kind of history-setting moment. When it comes to champions in the LCS, no seed lower than 4 coming into the postseason has ever taken the title. These are the 3 teams that have done it, most recently as EG in 2022 spring. But that means that Cloud9 coming into the playoffs as the 5 seed has the opportunity to set a new record.
It was just a long con the entire time. C9 just wanted to make history. That's what it was.
they slumped in the regular season just to come in. Yeah.
They sandbagged Emily.
Oh, no.
But no, honestly, it's really
That's a throwback.
It's still a big takeaway. And also just talking about how competitive this playoff run has been. That there's been 5 teams that people firmly believe can take it. And it's Cloud9 that has shocked many people.
Yeah, and just last year there was a 5th seed waiting in the winner's bracket. It was Team Liquid. And they did get swept by 100 Thieves. So they almost had the 5th seed win before.
Yeah, it's a good
Not
call
done
out.
yet.
Let's set the table by taking a look at our Samsung SSD Fast 5. Kind of a quick overview of each of the lanes, the players in those positions, and how they compare to the LCS average in each of our track stats.
No surprise to see Blaber with the fast jungle clear, always a high priority for him to try and get out on the map right away, start getting some farm in his favor.
And I mean, it's also just not a surprise when it comes to Berserker and FBI ahead of the pack. A lot of the times, especially in this meta, you want to put resources into your bot lane. And so they've been doing that. FBI and Berserker have been the ones that have had the highest ROI. They return that investment to their team, and that's why they're here in the finals today.
It's also super cool to see from Berserker because previously a lot of our criticism of him in spring was like, oh, he's an amazing team fighter. His laning could improve a little bit, and pairing with Zven, who also happens to have the very quick support item transformation. Their duo lane together has been phenomenal.
So my question is, as this is kind of a precursor to understanding, how good Cloud9 is, how much they've ramped up in the split, and how they very much deserve to be the final boss in this LCS championship, I still want to know why they're so good. Right? How did they go from being a 5th place team to now looking, almost indomitable?
I think one of the things is their champion pool and how they have a lot of versatility to meet this patch. And this is just their champion pool from the playoff run. But if you'll notice how large Fudge's champion pool is, so many of those are counter picks. So Sejuani is a flex pick. He plays all the power picks, but then he also plays good counters to the things that people are blind picking. He will play Fiora into your Aatrox. He will play Camille into your Ornn. Berserker plays all the hyper carries as well as the counters to the hyper carries like Draven. And then Jensen has actually just been able to play what he's always been good at, and it's working with all the other things that they're playing. So they're by far the most flexible team in draft.
Mark, I love this graphic, but something feels a little off to me, right? Like it's giving me inklings of like a Ssumday.
I hate you.
Wow.
That's it.
Oh, is this it?
Oh, get
I
him.
love Raz's face.
I mean, he is the guy on the iPad telling them how the draft should go in between
He's the one
games.
with the laptop in between games deciding which of these champions
Oh, sorry,
is gonna get
Microsoft,
played.
probably Surface Pro or something.
Hey, if he's Ash support, he's
Cover your
playing.
bases, cover your bases.
If he's Ash support, he's playing support, AD carry, and of course, in between games, he's the coach as he's the one with the iPad, as you mentioned. So like the role swap is
Microsoft
multiple
Surface.
rows. Boom.
We're not sponsored by them. We
No,
can say
but
whatever
I mean,
Oh, they are though. Yes.
They're very clear about their Microsoft partnership.
Fair.
their stats
Oh my God.
of CSD at support.
But Mark, what do you make of those champion pools for Cloud9? Because as Jack mentioned, that's only the playoffs, and there's a heck of a lot of champions on that
I
graph.
think it just shows that they can play the meta and they can play one step above the meta in a sense where like you have the counters that you're ready to go. Not just counters, but things that other people don't have much experience with, like the Neela, the Anivia that can come in, and that makes them very dangerous in draft because you're not sure what you're going to actually push them to when you start banning things out.
And that's what makes the prep for 100 Thieves going into the series super important. The point you guys have talked about, the counter picks that they've had, and also counter to the meta. The Neela that you've talked about, and just generally speaking, how they want to be able to dive and take down these the hyper carries that have dominated the playoffs, make this actually such a vacuum of a series in comparison to the rest of the playoffs.
It's one thing to be able to play the meta champion and also have a couple creative picks in your back pocket, but those creative picks are useless if you don't have creative ways to use them within the game. And so, Emily, I'm going to hand it over to you to kind of talk about how Cloud9 has improved their strategy moving through the postseason.
Yeah, so in this episode of State Farm Neighborhood Tactics, there we go. I'm gonna be breaking down this team fight around Drake. This is is sole point for C9. And in this, there was a skirmish actually in the bot side Tri-Brush where Berserker does lose his shield bow in that fight. They both, huhi and I believe Fudge, are able to place wards here. So they're going to be able to track where Fudge and Ssumday are kind of trying to go. And then the key players here are going to be Jensen, Berserker, and Fudge going in on FBI. He's the one that they want to target. So, like I said, 100 Thieves, due to that skirmish and their setup, they are able to come in. You see Ssumday tracking Fudge on the flank. When Closer goes in here, Lulu ult is blown, and this Jensen killing Closer is actually the go point for C9. You see Fudge already going in. They're targeting FBI directly, and Berserker is going to Nila ult on top of him right here. He does get blown up here, but it actually does not matter because this composition is designed so that the majority of the damage is going to be coming out of Jensen's Azir and then Fudge's Camille. And this is what allows, again, as Blaber kind of zones Abbedagge and huhi out of it, Jensen's able to come over, kill Abbedagge, kill huhi. This fight ended up splitting exactly how they wanted. I thought it was actually, again, even though Berserker dies, it was a great understanding of how their composition wants to work, how they were going to contest that fight with 100 Thieves, knowing that 100 Thieves had to be there to contest because it was on Soul Point.
So they've beaten them once, Jat.
Yeah.
But this is a stellar Cloud9 team that's walking into maybe one of our strongest late-game team-fighting teams in the league.
Yeah, and we talked about this yesterday during the pre-show as well, but 100 Thieves absolutely excels in the late game, but generally speaking, a lot of the other LCS teams don't respect them that much because they're not very good in scrims.
Yep.
But one of the biggest difference between scrims and stage is the level of aggression, which then manifests in game time. So I would say the average scrim is about 24, maybe 25 minutes. The average LCS game is 34 minutes, and with the experience that these guys have together, now follow me on this graphic, the minutes are along the bottom. Even Gold is the second line from the bottom. At about 24 minutes, this was their 3 games that they won yesterday. That's when they turn it on. They just kind of stick with you for most of the game, but they have so much more coordination than their opponents after about 25 minutes. That's how they've won most of their games.
Where's the Evan line here?
It's 2 from the bottom.
Okay, perfect, thank you.
Yeah, I think when you see the late game team fighting for them, they are incredible at it. They also understand what the enemy team's win cons are often going to be. So even in that highlight that Emily was breaking down, you saw that like Ssumday was marking Fudge, understanding he shouldn't be able to get free access to his backline.
Yeah.
They did the best that they could. It was actually the front line that got exploded. But that speaks to 100 Thieves usually understanding not just how their comp wants to play, but their opponent's comp, and knowing and communicating well about what they need to do to set up their ideal fights.
And this was what made the difference in yesterday's series, right? Because you could see that experience coming through from 100 Thieves. Even if they did fall behind early in a lot of these games, they were able to come back.
100%, and I think they just have one of the better fundamentals in the league. I mean, there's no shock, that's what they're here for. But that's why a lot of the times they beat teams in very uninteresting fashion. They don't have like a flashy way to come out and take you down. It's when they have firm setup around objectives, great wards to really bait you to come in. It's usually Ssumday that's going to be on a flank area. It's something that teams understand. But when you're in that position, you lose.
You gonna tell me Fiora's not interesting?
Okay.
Getting solo kills on Fiora is interesting.
Speaking, if you're gonna take one of those fringe ideas,
but I'm talking about from this weekend,
Yes,
what they've
you're
done
right.
better and the improvements that they've had.
Yeah, and there's been multiple different ways that this 100 Thieves has been able to win going back to last year. Like, when you could stack waves and turret dive effectively, that's all they did. They were just stacking waves bottom lane and diving you with Closer pathing towards bottom. That's not good anymore. It's about dragon stacking and late game. So they have just played that way all year. So they're identifying the way they think the game should be played, and they're moving towards that.
I do appreciate that you brought that up though, Rez, because it did, or rather, it did feel like to a degree the perception of 100 Thieves throughout the split did lag behind, and also seemed a bit critical of the team for winning, but winning in non-flashy ways.
But it's one of those things, exactly. If you're just a great fundamental team, people will oftentimes look past you.
Yeah, you don't need flashy plays.
The San Antonio Spurs for the legacy that they had, but it's like one of those things where, okay, but we'll still look towards the big players. But at the end of the day, that's that evolution. During the playoffs, the picks that you're seeing Ssumday on, that they're putting him in really interesting. Okay, there we go.
Dude, Cloud9 Ginobili is actually Abbedagge. He's like, he doesn't do that well in the regular season. Then the playoffs come around, and like, you cannot stop this guy.
Yeah, but the counter picks have been amazing for them recently.
Yeah. Also, Ssumday on the Gwen, I thought that was really good.
True.
The other person I wanted to highlight is huhi, right? Because obviously, it's not just that he picked a bunch of different things in yesterday's series, but the play style and how it changed. One of the things, as you know, he actually role swapped from mid. His teammates, even when like a lot of people were ripping him apart for maybe not being the best mid laner, his teammates were always had his back and said that he had such a great understanding of the game, and he's absolutely brought that to support. Yesterday, I loved that we saw him on the Amumu, where I was like, I don't know about this pick. It's really going to rely on his engage sense. He absolutely delivered in that game. And then additionally, we then back-to-back saw him on the Soraka, which brought him up to 60 unique champions played in LCS, which is the most of all time.
Yeah, that just speaks to his diversity of playstyle, of understanding the game as well, being able to play things like Aurelion Sol and be a god at that when no one seemed to know how to do that. I think it speaks to his adaptability as a player that, given some time in the meta, he'll figure out what's good, what's not, and how to play each of those. And that Soraka pick coming in Game 5 felt like kind of the icing on the cake for that team.
Yeah, and that creativity will mean so much in a best of 5, because much like that last series, when you get to the 5th game and you feel like you're out of answers, huhi has the answer and often comes down with a champion pool.
Who's that?
You
I took a video of that.
It was really small. Wait,
He's over
you.
there.
Yeah, he's up there.
Keep you. There's really small subtext on it. What is next to the 1v1 me part?
Is there subtext?
Yeah.
No, next.
It's just
right.
A1v1.
No, next to the.
No,
there's
it's next to
text.
one of the ones.
Oh, I can't zoom in. Let me see that.
What is
I'm gonna find you later. And I'm gonna destroy you.
That sounds like a threat.
Oh, actually, never mind. He just flexed. I don't want to find it. Security?
There it is. Get him!
Oh my goodness. What happened? Why do I don't know what we were talking about.
I actually tweeted that video at you, so you'll find a special surprise on Twitter.
All right, I got this.
Okay, please.
Because you know who else rose on this support? It's Zven. As we see here, you know, last year, right here,
That's an AD carry lifting the trophy, I promise.
Yeah, as an AD carry with Vulcan, who he played against yesterday on Evil Geniuses now. And again, throughout his career, people have really lauded Zven for his understanding of the game. In role swapping to support, he told us on the desk, he's like, yeah, like I didn't necessarily want to play support, but I wanted to be in the position where I was able to win a title, where I was able to go to Worlds. Zven is such a competitor, he will flex into a different role just to be able to win.
And I think that's the commonality between these two players, Zven and huhi. Even when they played their other roles, they wanted to dictate the game. They wanted to have control. And the support compared to the AD carry has so much more control over the way the game is played. He can dictate the laning phase. He can then move to other lanes more easily. He has a higher influence on the vision game. So he can play the game in his vision much more easily.
And communicate to the player that was competing with prior in that position during scrims in time, so they have not only just the same way of playing the game in view, but also just adding more, telling them how honestly, hey, I play this matchup better. I can tell you how to do that. That was the case with Zven, and honestly throughout huhi's career, when his mid laner has ideas, he'll tell them how he experienced it. So behind the scenes, what you don't see, that 80% of the iceberg underwater, that's the value that the player has in that position.
The major difference here is, of course, that one of these players has been in the role swap for a number of years.
True,
the other has only been in it for one split. One's won a championship in that role. The other one is looking to get their championship in that role. We talk about Zven moving to the side, stepping to the side, rather, in order to fill that support position. Yeah, I do wonder why. Probably because they have a damn good AD carry on the team in Berserker. We all know what a beast Berserker is, but let's get to know him a little bit better.
What do you think makes you more unique or different from other AD carries in the league?
First, I'm young. And 2, really good mechanic. And 3rd, not spring but in summer, get brain.
Someone's taken low! Berserker is dominating! Berserker is coming back to life! And Berserker will cut them down!
Would you like $160, or would you want me to double it and give it to the next pro player?
Absolutely, I take it.
You take it?
Yeah.
Okay. Fantastic. Why did you take it?
Cause I just love money.
C9 pouring the damage into the health bars as Blaber stays alive, tanking on the front line, but he's finally going to drop FlyQuest in 2! FlyQuest lose 2!
Berserker!
It's 3v3 here on the map.
Pentaangle!
Berserker
Penta!
is killing everyone!
There it is!
Berserker gets the penta!
I feel like it's in zoo. You know zoo? Zoo animal. Zoo animal.
Danny's got a kite, but Fudge is tanky. Back in is a triple kill, and nothing else JoJo can do. 4 unanswered.
He's good so fighting, yeah. Very boomer? Yeah. No.
Experience.
Yeah, experience.
And it's time for Orin to find a knockup, but already 2 members are dead. Danny's got to be careful. Danny goes down, and they're down. And one goes back over to the top side. Impact left alone. Impact locked in place. And he's got nowhere to go but the graveyard.
Gotta love that guy, and thank you to Travis Gafford and Cloud9 for some of the footage there to help put that together. We've got another one of those experienced players on the desk in Bwipo. Bwipo joining us to help break down a bit of the series. Quite obviously, Bwipo, we're going to target the top lane if we've got you on the desk. First of all, good to see how you've been enjoying Chicago in the weekend.
Pretty good. I had one of those deep dish pizzas. They were pretty good, yeah.
Yeah?
I enjoyed that.
Nice. All right. Look, already playing to the crowd. I like it. All right, let's talk top laners here. You're the most experienced when it comes to facing off against these guys. What's your expectation walking into this series?
So the thing I like most about Fudge is actually with him role swapping out of top lane and then coming back, he had kind of a notion of what he wanted to see in his own top lane on his team, right? And I think he's been able to realize that very well with the fact that he has a plethora of counter picks, he plays them very well, and he plays them to his style. So I really like that Fudge is committed to counter picking the champions that are currently in the meta, and I think that's his best style, and I really want to look forward to seeing more of that today.
Yeah, it reminded me of an interview that he had like in his first few weeks back to the role. He was talking about how he wanted to see more creative picks from other top laners in the league, right?
I mean, it makes a lot of sense.
And Ssumday also then, I think, counterpicked more than we're used to in the series yesterday. So how much of an influence do you feel like maybe losing the series had on Ssumday, and how many counterpicks do you expect to see from him today?
I'm not 100% sure, to be honest with you, because I don't know what goes on in 100 Thieves. Like, from their perspective, was it a laning phase issue? Was it a team fighting issue? I do personally think that C9 is a team that definitely tries to get the most advantage in the draft phase. They really want to make sure that you have a sore spot in the draft, and then they're relentless at attacking that. And that's really what I want to see coming out of C9, is creating a situation in draft that is advantage for them, and then focusing that point. Because so far, they've been able to win through almost every single one of their players. Jensen's had a great playoff. Berserker's had a great playoff. Yes. Fudge has as well. Blaber, like every single one of their players, including Zven, like everyone's had a great playoff so far, and that really bodes really well for them in the sense that if they get that draft advantage, I really want to see them right at home and keep attacking that sore spot.
Nice. You had mentioned previously that you feel like Fudge then brought what his idea of top lane was after role swapping. As a player who has role swapped yourself, what does that bring when you return to the top lane, right? Like, what do you think you can bring from a different position, and does it allow you to see the map a lot differently?
Absolutely. I think it helps you gain perspective of what you expect from your teammates as well as what you expect from yourself, and that's really important in any competition where you work with other people, is setting expectations that are clear and achievable for everyone involved. And I think that that's what C9 have really accomplished working with Berserker and Zven in the bot lane similarly, right? Like, I think their expectations of this is what a successful bot lane is. I don't feel like C9 is the team that has like players that do way too much or way too little in any game. It's very clear that within the expectations that they set for each other, it's clear what they can accomplish together as a team.
And to the earlier point that you were making about, hey, every player on C9 has been able to win off leads that they were able to get, right?
Yeah.
For 100 Thieves, as a team, we're starting to see more counter picks come from Ssumday. Have you, from the games that you've seen, have you been able to see them like really run with Ssumday's leads?
I'm not 100% sure if I would say they've run with Ssumday's lead. Yeah. I do feel like they're still, they want to show up in the 5v5 scenarios of the Dragon. The Fiora was a team fighting Fiora, not a side lane win condition Fiora. So I wouldn't say that they're, playing so much towards the win condition of the champion. But of course, any gold lead means a lot to a team like 100 Thieves, where, as you can see, like their averages are definitely falling behind in the early game, and then they come back in around the 24-25 minute mark.
Hey, there we go.
Somebody's watching the pre-show. All right, gotta love it. Bwipo, thank you so much for your thoughts on the top lane. For those of you at home and in the audience, we're going to be lucky enough to have Bwipo joining us post-game 1 for the breakdown as well, so you'll get plenty of your Bwipo fill. For now, though, we're going to get a word from Fudge on trash talking and pressure leading into the finals.
The whole reason I shit talk everybody is because, well, First of all, I know it gets in their head. Second of all, it gets in my own head. I need to win. When I say everyone else is trash, I need to make sure I am not trash. If I lose to them, I am also trash. So, I put a lot of pressure on myself. More pressure than I think anybody else in the entire world probably puts on me. And I like that. That's fun.
I don't know where I saw it, but somebody said that Whip was in the middle of his supervillain arc, and I am convinced.
Fudge.
Or yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry, that Fudge is in his supervillain arc.
I mean, the Whip supervillain is also intriguing.
Less so, but yeah, every time I see an interview with Fudge, I'm like, yeah, no, he's living up to that, to say the least. Let's move on to the junglers. Blaber, we're going to start on the Cloud9 side. Voted top 2 greatest LCS jungler of all time. 10th greatest LCS player of all time. And just let's not forget how this guy entered the scene.
Yeah, he exploded onto the scene once he got full control, but there was a slower ramp-up time where he had to go through the scouting ground. He was drafted by Cloud9, had a great start there, started swapping time with Zven, who won an MVP, and Cloud9 was so confident in him, they let Zven go to then promote Blaber to be the starter full-time. Blaber then wins MVP soon after, and they had an incredible run of dominance ever since he's joined the main lineup.
And every player that had worked with him and had talked publicly about him is talking about like how good his hands are as a player, and that if you just trust his intuition, if he goes in a fight, it's going to be a good call.
Yeah, wasn't it Fudge who was on our desk who said like, oh, you know, Blaber is the person that we're always gonna follow, and if we don't follow, he is. But then, like, the fact that we're so coordinated and he chooses these engages so well most of the time, it always ends up looking good for them.
Yeah, he's someone who has amazing instincts. He's always thinking about League, and he's also been a fan forever. If you saw his trivia, he was able to name every LCS champion in descending order, and also 3 players from every team ever, like just off the top of his head. He's been watching League and playing League since his early teen years.
Well, I'm glad he was able to name all the champions in descending order, because then he's perfectly aware of the strength of his opponent today in Closer.
Yeah, Closer has been the guy on the other side of this matchup who has solidified himself as one of the most clutch players. It feels like in the LCS, these monstrous kicks in Game 5 versus Team Liquid, deciding that series. He's had a number of these late playoff runs where he's won a Finals MVP in summer last year.
Yeah, I mean, even Emily was talking about the fact that, you know, his early map movements, when you go topside consistently, the idea of booming Summit out of Spring Split, where you just consistently go towards Ssumday's lane early, and in those team fights, his Lee Sin kicks are something that you're just afraid of. You don't see Lee Sin for a long time because he's out of meta, but it's always Lee Sin meta for Closer.
And that's why I'm super curious to see both of them go up against each other, right? Because Closer was, I guess, quiet compared to the excellence that we expect him yesterday. He was a little bit quieter. And I'm really, really curious. Like, obviously, he was still showing up in team fights. I definitely want to see what his early map movements are compared to Blaber, who we have seen go to lanes a little bit earlier than we expected, as opposed to team fighting, which he's also good at.
I love all the smart stuff that's being said. I love the in-depth analysis. But if we will recall, I think there's just one fact, one little stat that might get in the way of this very hype matchup between Blaber and Closer, and it comes courtesy of Jack.
It's hilarious the amount of role swap supports there are in the LCS. Huhi himself, one of the most valuable, as we see the crab go over, fans lose their mind.
I think the series is over now.
From 5th seed to final boss, the Cloud9 era has returned. A 3-1 victory over 100 Thieves.
So, crabs are important.
Blaber's crabbers, baby!
We pulled some crab stats.
These are real stats,
He
by the way.
actually does lead the playoffs in scuttles per game, scuttles in wins, and he does need to work on his big scuttles per game, Rift Heralds.
Right.
But other than that, he puts a massive focus on crabs. Blaber, the crabber, is a real thing.
Well, and you jumped over that third stat there. Only 4 scuttles per game in team.
Yeah, he's one win. They gotta get some scuttles.
You gotta shut him down around the scuttles if you want to take him down. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Oh.
So to celebrate Blaber's crabbers,
Okay, these are huge.
Yeah, these are
I didn't know what we were signing up for when we requested these.
We made a request.
I mean,
let's just
production more than delivered. We said, can we get some crab?
How do you?
Ow.
I mean,
What
try
the
and break
heck?
it, and
Hey,
then
hey, Raz, hit me with
there's going to be crab meat inside.
Thank you.
What?
Thank you.
We didn't get any
Yeah.
forks.
These are
Okay.
glorious. No, use your hands. Come on, get in there.
Yeah,
Rip it
squeeze
open.
some lemon.
Yeah, see? And then here, can I get some
Yo.
butter? Give me that butter.
What were you thinking with that?
I cannot eat this without butter.
I think.
Oh my god.
Raz has been hitting me with chairs, notebooks. He's been
Yeah.
hitting me
Oh,
all
actually,
week.
I mean,
This is
there's a
delicious
really
crab.
big piece of crab in here,
Give
yeah.
me one of those lemons, please.
Okay, look at this.
Also,
Okay. Also,
we should also probably continue, doing the show.
well, this is why Blaber, he is from Maryland, so he's
adds up.
predisposed to crabs.
Oh, this is glorious.
Look at this one.
Can I get some of that butter?
So
How many
impressive.
times do I have to have?
You can keep asking. You're not
Butter.
gonna get it.
As we go over this crab highlight reel, I do think this points to how we're used to seeing Blaber play, right? Which is like a lot of attention to crabs, attention to like kind of full farming, carrying team fights and skirmishes.
I love that you're
I
analyzing
am trying.
I lost
This
it
is
at
hundreds
attention
of
to
dollars
crabs.
of crab.
Attention to crabs is
Look,
the greatest line ever.
I tried.
Crab dip!
And I failed.
Let's go!
Crab dip.
My God.
Crab dip!
The TSM chants were very loud randomly a couple minutes ago.
Yeah.
I assume the crab chants are going to be insane once
How
the
does
series
a crab
starts.
chant go?
You just cheer.
You just cheer when
Just
crab
cheer.
I don't think it's that coordinated, Jack.
Don't think you're supposed to use your brain on that one.
Just cheer when the crab is killed.
God bless.
All right, what are we
Yeah.
talking about next?
Blaber
I got
crabbers.
distracted by crab.
Yeah. Well, we're gonna enjoy the crabs.
There it is. Starting.
There it is.
It's actually
There it
starting.
is.
It's actually working.
I can't believe Raz just.
Got plenty of extra crab.
This is actually really good.
It's actually delicious.
We'll throw some out into the stands. You know when the
No,
people go around and throw
we're
out.
keeping this.
See, look,
so
the
good.
crowd wants it. I'm saying we'll hand this over to the people who throw normally merch into the crowd, and we'll throw
And we'll
fucking
throw
crab.
giant crab legs.
All right, production is done. Production is done with us. They just live updated the toss. They said, toss to break, please. All right, they don't want to watch us eat crab
Yeah,
anymore. We'll be right
apparently not.
back to break down the rest of the series and tee this up. Thank you so much for joining us. See you in a few.
You're unhinged.
Welcome back to the LCS Finals, delivered by Grubhub, taking place in the beautiful United Center and city of Chicago. 100 Thieves, Cloud9 getting ready to go.
Shout out to Grubhub delivering all that crab a minute ago. Damn right.
That was so much crap.
It was so much.
All of it.
We ate all of it. Yeah, 3 minutes.
Yeah.
It's all gone now.
Clear now.
I do like the leg there, Mark.
So many amazing cosplayers have been in attendance as well here, treating the fans. It's been wonderful to see.
So
we got
cool.
15 minutes to go until we kick this thing off. And so I want to kind of try and center us a little bit. Raz, you all right over there? On what this finals means for each of these teams.
And for 100 Thieves, it's about consistency and establishing themselves as the best team of the last 2 years. They've made 3 consecutive finals now. They won last year in summer, they got 3-0'd this year in spring, and now they have returned to the finals again through the losers bracket like they did when they won the title in 2021. So if they win here, they would solidify themselves as the best team of the last 2 years.
Yeah, and it's not just the obvious dominance in the postseason, it's regular season dominance for this team as well. They've been incredible during this time period. You can see 44 wins over the last 3 splits, only 19 losses, about a 70% win rate. They have been one of the best teams in LCS this past time period.
And we covered this yesterday, but just to reiterate, this current roster, like 100 Thieves, I want to give them credit for scouting this roster, or Golden Guardians credit for scouting this core that's been together for 1,026 days. But this roster specifically has been together for 510 days. That is where I think we see a lot of their ability to come back through these late game team fights.
And what's really interesting as well is, even though the 100 Thieves team has this energy, Jensen and Blaber started long before that. Now, they were separated for several years, but they have rekindled that synergy. They've always been so good together back when they first arrived on C9, and they've actually been able to pick it up right where they left off.
Hey, sounds like a classic romance, and I feel like when in Summer Split, when they were talking about why they brought in Jensen and the reasoning for their roster construction in general, yes, it was Blaber that was talking about that synergy. And he was talking about how he loved working with Jensen and vice versa. So it really started off to an amazing start.
Even then, Fudge as well commented on the fact that he was like, I wasn't sure about Jensen right out the gate, but then once I played with him for a little bit, he became very quickly convinced of Jensen's skill.
Yeah, I do think, though, as we kind of talked about the story, 400 Thieves being the fact that, well, they have shown they're at the top of this league and can compete with the best. The times that they've come out at the very top, but they unfortunately weren't able to do so in front of the fans. And while fans fill up the seats here in the United Center, let's get a word from Closer on what it would mean to lift a trophy in front of this crowd.
Winning the LCS first time was very special. That was the happiest day of my life for sure. Not only because I won the title, I did it with my good friends, good teammates. Now we have a chance to do it in front of a big field stadium. We didn't have fans back then, and it was so sweet. I just can't imagine how it's gonna be when there's gonna be fans cheering for us when we lifted that trophy. I think it's gonna be an insane feeling.
And not only in that top, but obviously we heard from Closer in his post-game interview along with Abbedagge, right? Where that was the first thing they brought up. That was their first win in front of a crowd that was not, the LCS arena.
Right.
So it obviously means a lot to them, especially since, as we're seeing the footage from this spring finals, they were not able to win the finals in front of a crowd the last time they were here.
And I think there's 2 different kinds of players. There's the players that when they're in a league game, they just shut everything out and they're trying to make it every other game. 100 Thieves is definitely a team that I think tries to feed on their environment. They're very influenced by the stakes of the moment. So they're definitely going to be more amped up with the fans here today.
They're also a team that rides heavily on momentum. There's times where it seems like there's nothing working for them in a series. They seem out of it, and out of nowhere they start ripping off a couple wins in a row. That was exactly how it was in spring when they took down Team Liquid in that winner's side. Was they fell 2 games down, it felt like they had no momentum, and then Closer had his famous line, we started to play like humans, and they actually took over.
And it reminded me of that series, 100 Thieves versus Cloud9, actually in the upper bracket. Because when they ended up losing, it was Abbedagge saying, he just kind of lost that momentum. In the first few games, he was doing really well, and then by the back half of it, he was falling off. And so it's moments like these that talk about the human element of this team.
And there are so many similarities between these 2 squads, particularly, and what they're trying to achieve today.
Yeah, I was gonna say, you saw him both him and Perks were fake as they were coming in at the beginning of the day. They were fake high-fiving people as they were going down the empty chairs. So obviously it would mean a tremendous amount for them to also get the title in front of fans after not having been in front of a crowd like this for so long.
Right, Sven's done it before, but
Yeah.
Lord knows he wants to do it again. Let's talk a little bit about Cloud9's year, though, because if we rewind all the way back to Jan 1, even the preseason, Mark, I mean, what a ride it has been tracking this team.
It has been a tumultuous year for them. It is pretty much unrecognizable from how this year started from Cloud9. If you go back to the very beginning of the roster construction, it was kind of that LCK vision with Summit coming in, Berserker, Winsome, and LS as coach just broke the internet. The fact that he was coming in to coach Cloud9, but it did have a bit of a bumpy start when they moved into the lock-in tournament. They hit some visa issues. They could not have their intended roster right off the gate, so they start with Darshan. Zven comes back in, Isles is playing, and they struggled a little bit during then. They eventually got their starters back, but then they hit the next roadblock for them, which was LS getting released, and this was very contentious within the community. People were
Still
upset.
is, apparently.
You
You
can
hear it behind us
you can
right
still
now.
hear that people loved LS for this team. They were sad to see him go, but the team still continued to move along quite well when Max Waldo stepped in. They still finished second place regular season with a 13-5 record. Summit got MVP. It felt like everything was going for this team before again.
Let it ride.
Yeah, you thought, hey, this looks like a great lineup. You go into playoffs, they get exploded out of playoffs, like Raz was talking about when Closer just camped top lane and kind of exposed Summit. Boomed him right out of the LCS. He went to the LPL right after. So that caused C9 to revamp their roster. Fudge goes back to top lane after role swapping mid. Jensen comes in. Sven then role swaps his support to take that spot from Winsome. And it felt like, okay, this is the new vision that the team's going to buy into. You move into when the split actually starts, and they get hit again with visa issues, unable to have their starting roster. They start out 0-3 when you had Destiny and King stepping in. People were very cold, actually. And again, fans started to feel like they backed off. Analysts backed off. They finished 5th in the regular season at 10-8.
Mark, you need to take a breath.
I'm good.
I'm worried about you, man.
I'm monologuing.
Wow. This is, I'm watching with
But they hit their stride in playoffs.
Just like that!
Let's go. Here they are running the upper bracket. We talked about how many full 5-game best of 5 have taken place in this bracket, but Cloud9 is one of the few teams that's avoided a few of those full 5-game series, right?
It's pretty crazy because even just going through that, I forgot that all happened this year. And I listened.
It's been like
Were you
9
not
months
paying
total.
attention and read through this morning?
It's insane because so many changes happened. I know a lot of teams had experimentations and all that, but like even the Cloud9 fans were like, this is not the roller coaster I signed up for.
Jack's wild ride. Yeah.
Yes. So it was incredible that they were able to finally hit that stride, the potential with the names on those papers, that they were able to finally get to it in the playoffs.
But Jad, here's the thing about Cloud9, right? They could have a tumultuous year like that, but history kind of starts to speak for itself when it comes to Cloud9 and finals appearances.
They always find a way. Every single year, they will make at least one final. 2013 summer, 2014 spring. I'm not going to read them all because we don't have time, but it's 10
Mark, you wanna take
years of making the final, whether they end up winning or being the runner-up. So it's organizational excellence. Even when they fall down, they are very good at getting back up again. So even though this year was crazy, they had that 7th place to Worlds. They always find a way. This is a collage of all the different Cloud9 players who have played for them in a final.
In a final, yeah.
On stage, in a final. It's incredible.
That's not just like one regular season game appearance. That's stepping onto a final stage.
21 players is insane, and that's why the systems memes for Cloud9 have some truth to them. They are able year after year to put on a roster that's capable of competing at the highest level.
Yeah, and I mean, just the beauty of just the simplicity of, hey, you have a player that you really deem as your franchise player, and you stick with them. So in this case, it would be Blaber. Blaber, they saw, a vision with him, rode with them, and now they're here once again in the finals with the teams. And who are they going up against? It's 100 Thieves.
Yeah, and by contrast, like I said, I do want to point out, I really appreciate how much the 100 Thieves org has stuck with this lineup, just because I think you hear from the players how valuable it is to know each other so well. That is where the strength of their team fighting comes in. That is where they can kind of hang past having a really difficult early game and come back in the mid game through their map movements. And I feel like it's really interesting because the way we talked about C9 was like, We know the P word, the potential of this lineup. We're waiting to see it because they're inconsistent, like from week to week to week. And we saw flashes of brilliance from individual players.
Yeah.
The way we talked about 100 Thieves was kind of similar, even though they had I want to say their best record in the organization's history, just behind EG by 1 game. And because they weren't just coming out and slamming all of these games, we were very critical of them because even with the wins, they looked shaky. And maybe that's why you see this where they're like, okay, we won yesterday, but we're not done.
And they're very tuned in to the final goal. Everyone talking about needing 1 more. Also, surprisingly big basketball fans. Even before they got here, a lot of them know Bulls and Michael Jordan history. Immediately after the game, closer was saying 1 more time. Reaper comes into the huddle saying 1 more. They're very focused on the ultimate goal, which is going to be winning that title.
Yeah, as if lifting this trophy couldn't mean anything more. The fact that they could do it in this very arena would just be that much sweeter for the squad. And, you know, that's something that we haven't really talked about too much is the fact that Reaper's stepping back
Former
on this.
Cloud9 coach.
Exactly. You know, you got the glimpse of him there, but this guy as well manages to find his way back to finals all the time.
Also, Jensen wanting to win his first Cloud9 title, as only one on Team Liquid, was so many very close moments on C9 in the past.
We could go for another hour, but we only got 4 minutes. So let's start talking predictions. I want to know from the 4 of you first, and then we'll widen out to the influencers and the rest of the town squad. Emily, you're first. You're always first.
Damn, all right.
Saving the best for first.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. So I think this is going to be a 3-2 either way.
Okay.
And I am favoring C9 slightly. I really, really like what I saw. Wow, I feel like that is the first time I've ever received a cheer for my prediction. Not even like, that's nice, thank you. I really, like I said, I know I keep returning to the Nyla comp and what it meant. Also ban the cat, I appreciate that sign as well. What it meant was that I was seeing a very different type of play style from them that they also seem to be able to execute. I want to see that kind of draft creativity, especially in their 4-5 picks when we're looking at these compositions. Regardless of side, I want to see where their counter picks end up. So I am favoring C9. I think it could go either way. I think it will be another 3-2. We will be continuing that record.
I love that, and I love the fact that you pointed out that this is the first time, I guess, the fans cheered for your...
Yes,
I'm still waiting for mine, 100 Thieves 3-2. So, like, I know, look, it is what it is. What it is. And for me, what it comes down to...
This is the last LCS show of the year, bro.
I'm going to have to find my way out the back door.
Raz, we still have the flip-flops for you.
Oh, that's true.
I'll hold on.
In true Raz fashion.
I'll hold on to it. The last time I flip-flop didn't work out for me.
3-2, tell me
And the
why.
reasoning for it is because 100 Thieves felt like they kind of learned a lot. Yesterday didn't inspire a lot from just basically their gameplay. The last time they played against C9, those were incredibly close games, and they were in a lot of winning positions when they just got outplayed in team fights. And especially if you'll think about game 1, where they feel like they should have won that game. Abbedagge was really having an excellent Azir game and all that, and then the backdoor came through. So I think these teams, once again, really close.
Yeah.
But I think 100 Thieves have the better fundamentals.
Mark?
Cloud9 3-1. I think they're a lot better than 100 Thieves. They're one of the best teams in playoffs. They're only people consistently finding 3-1s. A lot of these matches are going to 3-2s. We talked about how many games there have been in playoffs. C9's been the exception to that rule. They've been the most dominant team in playoffs. I see no reason to change here in finals.
Mark had faith in the 3-2, I believe, yesterday, but he's calling the 3-1. Cloud9 continuing to run the upper bracket.
And you know that I like LCS history.
Yeah, I've known that about you.
Yeah, so we had double elimination now. This is our 6th split.
Okay.
In the 5 previous splits, the team from the winner's bracket, which would in this case be Cloud9, has only won twice. But both times that team that won was Cloud9.
Ooh.
So why would they not do it again?
Don't do it, Jet. Don't do it, Jet.
Cloud9 3-1. They're also the only team.
No.
2 of the 3 series that haven't gone to 5 have been Cloud9 3-1s. 3-1.
There it is.
You're smart.
I see the numbers.
Yeah, it's a Cloud9 favorite desk here.
What about other people?
Representative from
We have
you know what? We do have some
influencers,
other people. Let's
casters,
take a look at what the community at large thinks here when it comes to how this best of 5 will play out. You got very little help here, Raz. You got very little help with you, buddy. Yasuo.
I think Yasuo literally works with 100 Thieves.
LCS social
person. Wait, LCS social person? I know that man. I will find him.
There's a couple. Okay, how about the rest of the talent, though? I want to know what the rest of the casters and analysts think when it comes to who will take this series.
I don't want to know. I don't want to know.
We're skipping it.
I'm done with them.
We only got 50 seconds left.
I'm not liking the trend.
But it'll get tweeted out so you can check it there. Anybody got some final words before we dive down on stage and watch these teams do battle?
I just want to say, this whole time, this stadium has looked awesome, and I am very ready for the show to start.
Yeah.
I'm so happy you're ready. I'm ready too. I believe the entire United Center is ready as well. Everybody join me as we head down to the stage for the opening ceremony presented by MasterCard.
The official start of the League of Legends Championship Series. It looks like Dyrus is down for the counter.
Up until they lose the game, they're winning. So
I never yelled at Peter when he's never yelled at me, so it's just, the love is in the air.
Here comes the TP though, Dominic forced to jump away.
Oh man, that TP sucked.
When adversity hits you in the face, you must ask yourself, what would Lost Boy do?
So everyone knows you have Smite on F because D is for Glash.
Yesterday, all my troubles seem so far away.
This is the most important thing ever to us. In the whole world, like nothing is more important. No, not a relationship, nothing else, not like friendships or time or freedom or fun. It's just this.
The only NA team that I'm worried about is Cloud9.
Alright guys, this is where we turn it around.
Championship for Cloud9! It's gonna be the best Now it's time to open a new book. Right now, my story ends here.
I made it this far for so long, and this means the world to me.
LCS Championship! Now, let's introduce your starters. In the top lane, Fudge! Versus Ssumday! At AD carry, Berserker! Versus FBI! Protecting them and support, it's Zven! Versus huhi! In the mid lane matchup, Jensen! Versus Abbedagge! And finally, dominating the jungle, Blaber! Versus Lulu! Please put your hands together and let's hear it one more time for Cloud9! And 100 Thieves!
This is my first esports event. I'll be getting to see my team that I've supported for 8 years, and I really want them to win that championship.
If you are what you say you are, a superstar, then how would you feel the cameras here?
When I see all those C9 fans at the United Center trying to see us win, they want us to win. And that will make the victory feel a lot better.
If you are what you say you are, a superstar.
Headshots. He's from Chicago, and there will be a lot of 100 Thieves fans. It will be just amazing to give him a title in front of his hometown.
Vengeance is mine, say it the Thieves, and they're going to the finals. Yeah.
Because we've won against 100, we feel extremely confident. I do feel that we are probably the most consistent team, and all the other teams seem to be a little bit shaky.
The more famous person you come through, and it's all to the rules, and too gumshoe, too much of a newcomer, and too uncool. Like shadow in the veil, I battle with it.
Losing to Cloud9 in the upper bracket does not change anything. It's just past now, and I'm looking at the future and how to change the future. So I don't care that I lost. I'm here to win now.
He's gonna try to run away. The closer will answer.
100 Thieves, I know some of their players don't like me very much.
Fudge is saying some bullshit, man. I don't even know what he's saying. He's saying that I don't perform under pressure. How many finals MVPs Fudge have? I think that explains a lot.
The whole reason I shit talk everybody is because I know it gets in their head. And second of all, it gets in my own head. I put a lot of pressure on myself. More pressure than I think anybody else in the entire world probably puts on me. And I like that.
Take the stage and start performing for me. Like, and Fudge gets the shutdown. If you are You say you are a superstar.
I don't see a way that 100 Thieves will be able to beat us consistently for 3 games. In Chicago, the enemy team will just fall over and lose.
Job's not done. One more. We are in Michael Jordan's house, so respect to him. And looking for that second trophy.
Chicago, how you doing?
Oh, I am stoked to be here with 2 of the best in the business, Azael and Kobe. We are going to witness 2 of the best right now, 100 Thieves and Cloud9 to hoist the LCS trophy.
It is going to be so hype. We were sitting right under the pyrotechnics.
Ducking for cover.
Falling down on our heads over here. The crowd just rocking the roof already before we even start game number 1. And we're going to jump right into Champion Select into the finals.
It's going to be so exciting to see the adaptations here. Cloud9 having the advantage, getting to watch 100 Thieves play yesterday in a 5-game series. They weren't really able to hold anything back. So what is the prep going to show us here?
And they have the advantage of beating 100 Thieves already previously in playoffs in the upper bracket. So far, a lot of these bans remain the same from that series. This is a switch up though. They saw yesterday, they banned the Amumu from huhi.
It's going to be really interesting also to see, will there be that focus on top lane counterpicks in this series? Fudge was able to use that to get the better of Ssumday in their previous series, and Ssumday yesterday bringing out things like the Gwen, like the Fiora, and taking advantage of that in their series.
And one of the biggest ones that he was able to use for Fudge was the Kennen. Kennen buffed on this patch, and not that many top laners have actually really indexed heavily into that champion, and 100 Thieves in their previous matchup had to end up banning it every single game after they lost to it.
Well, Cloud9, I love this. Fudge hovering when he started the season on Soraka and Ivern as a mid laner. A bit of a floundering split, but they switched it up. He is back on top. A top dog for sure. Berserker still in. Zven on the support, and it's like, hey, it's about the bot lane. It's a bot lane meta. It's Zeri.
Zeri picked up for Berserker, so much on his shoulders for Cloud9. But if this hover goes through for Abbedagge with the Azir lock-in, then you already start to think about the counters from Jensen, the Silas, the Akali as well, following that up before you go to the next round of bans.
I wonder if 100 Thieves will actually go towards Lulu, or if they're even having that high prio on it, because 100 Thieves yesterday were okay to actually forgo some of the enchanters and play engage from bot lane. But, I mean, you could take Sivir on 3 and grab Lulu here to deny an enchanter from Zeri.
Plus, with the changes in the meta, we've seen Soraka start to emerge and them reach to other enchanters and healing supports in the bottom lane as well.
That's what champion pools are for. There's more than just the Zeri versus, with the Lulu or just with the Yuumi. You got a lot of options out there, and I love that huhi's had a gigantic pool so far this split. Sven's played all mana with counters all the time long. And Jensen back in the finals grabs LeBlanc versus Azir.
And this LeBlanc was banned a lot of the games in the previous matchup as well. They pair it with that Lulu, the tried and true for the Zeri. So Cloud9, they lock in a volatile kill-based mid lane matchup here with the LeBlanc, looking for kill setup with Blaber. That makes you think Cloud9 will want to get an aggressive jungle as well to pair with that LeBlanc and then have that scaling bottom lane for later.
Absolutely, it's one of Jensen's best champions, not only just this year, he's 7 games on it, 71% win rate, but all time. About a 75% win rate on this champion, has been so dominant on it over so many years. And Jensen going to be looking to assert that dominance here in mid lane against Abbedagge in game 1.
All right, looking at the jungle pool for Blaber for possible pairings there with that LeBlanc. They have banned out the Trundle as well. 100 Thieves trying to whittle down on that champion pool. Meanwhile, Cloud9 trying to take out some of these supports, these engages with Sivir. Will they also ban out something like the Soraka, though? We have seen a lot of these other, enchanter supports for the bottom lane here. Sivir definitely does well, with Leona as well. Nautilus already banned out here. Amumu banned out. They're trying to take away these frontline engages from 100 Thieves.
Well, one more man to go. Sivir's out there. You're matching some of the rules, but not others. Double indeed jungle ban as Trundle, Wukong are gone. And unanswered support right now is saying, yeah, we think you'd rather engage on us. Poppy, Sivir, Azir can kind of get you in anyway. Find a tank to start it out. What's the final ban here for Cloud9?
I feel like they might just continue banning engage picks, right? Huhi has been kind of showing that he wants to go towards it, but as you say, Soraka was big yesterday. I do think banning away the Ornn here makes sense. But it is interesting because 100 Thieves are on red side, so it's not like they have to fourth pick their top laner. But I guess the assumption is, because they're already going heavily towards scaling, that they would be able to grab it on 4 here, take it away from Fudge, and thinking that that would perhaps make too strong of a team fighting composition for 100 Thieves.
With these hovers already, I'm thinking it's going to be some sort of tank engage for Ssumday in the top lane. Whether you lock in the Soraka or the Sona, it is going to need a little bit more frontline. 100 Thieves, this is what we know from the team. They always want this structured 5-on-5. And so now it's on Cloud9. What's going to be the jungle pairing with this LeBlanc? You still have Lee Sin, Nocturne locked in here.
They're getting aggressive here in game 1. Oh, this is the combo right here. Kennen and Nocturne. You turn off the lights with the Nocturne ultimate so you cannot spot the Kennen flank. It makes it incredibly difficult to mark, but it's Malphite coming out here from Ssumday. He's going to go comment Malphite pretty much for sure, I would think.
Yeah, and Malphite recently buffed as well here. Let's put it to the test immediately. This Kennen, this is the pick that we were wondering. What is going to be the change this time around? Because the last 3 games of the previous series, 100 Thieves, they were not ready for it. They perma-banned the Kennen in the second phase. This time around, though, they've had time to prepare what their counter will be.
And this is so interesting because now it's all that pressure on Ssumday to actually be the one to lock down Berserker, because he is the only primary engage. But if Berserker has flashed, you expect him to be able to flash the Malphite ultimate every single time. So I do think 100 Thieves is going to have some pressure on them to be constantly trying to tax those summoner spells.
And keep track of the wards. Soraka is always a huge target. The Nocturne plus Kennen will be looking for that backline.
Alrighty, well, we're about to be started here in game 1. Cloud9 fought up from the 5th seed and became the strongest team, the favorite in these finals. 100 Thieves have a trophy just a year ago. Will it be them again? Will they get the rematch? Will they get revenge? Let's find out. Cloud9, 100 Thieves. Game 1 starts now. One more time, I want to hear it. Who's here for Cloud9? Hundred Thieves fans, you're not going to get outdone, are you? Louder this time. Who's here for 100 Thieves?
Seemed pretty close there, I'm not going to lie.
Yeah.
All right, we do have comment Malphite. So as expected, we are having that, but it is actually going to be electrocute here for Fudge. So more bursty rune setup here. Going to be interested to see, if he can actually get on that back line. It does make him more dangerous on these flanking plays. We see a lot more spellbook Kennen and things like that these days, though. So it is interesting to see the adaptation.
Yeah, I think he's just looking for that burst damage. As we said, the back line here, it's all about these flanks. The combination of Nocturne and Kennen, one of the old tried and true, turning off the vision, finding the flank for the Kennen into the back line. The electrocute gives you that burst damage to get through the Soraka before the healing starts to take over. They want to make those team fights as short as they can.
Some really interesting rune setups here as well for huhi. So Resolve Primary is pretty standard if you think you're going to be getting Dove upon, which Nocturne and Kennen is going to do. But he's actually Scorched Nimbus Cloak as his secondary here on the Soraka. So the Nimbus Cloak to me seems like he's trying to actually kite out after the initial engage when he's spending the Gauss, spending the flash. And the Scorch is just really heavily towards the laning here. Soraka, again, can be a very powerful laner. People don't always traditionally think of it in that way, but if you're actually foregoing points in the W early on, multiple points in Q and E, you really can crush in lane.
And as far as the junglers, should be Nocturne power clearing. Always looking for that level 6, of course, with this champion. So Blaber doing the red side start, red down to Krugs, full clear up towards that top side, towards that Malphite Kennen matchup.
You see Fudge trying to fight back with him. Ssumday, of course, going to go for the Q spam. Mana always going to be the issue. Fudge's health bar versus Ssumday's mana bar. I'm expecting, as the levels come in, for huhi to feel pretty good in his lane matchup. Undodgeable poke. Honestly, going for the aggressive option. I think Soraka should beat most enchanters in lane. I mean, the Q is self-sufficient, 120 health bar difference.
Yeah.
When it lands, no level 1 skill does as much as that one. So I think, yeah, saying I'm going to poke you down. We're going to have the defensive runes in primary, but I want to win this lane.
And that's why it's so much on your opponent to be able to actually dodge out on those Qs. If you're dodging out on those Qs, look how heavily Zven just won that trade there. Steps forward past the Q and is able to land that Glitter Lance and continually get those autos in on huhi to chunk him down. So you've got to keep dodging those out. Keep the Soraka low, and this is where you can really punish this 100 Thieves bot lane.
Looks like we do have Nocturne spotted on the ward here. Blaber comes around for an early gank towards mid, but Abbedagge knows he's there. Good defensive warding around the mid lane. It's something we saw a lot of yesterday too for the early stages of the matchup. When you pick LeBlanc into Azir, a lot of the matchup is on getting kills and kill threat with your jungler. If you're left alone just to have the Azir free farming, pushing you in under tower, you're slowly going to lose out more of your presence.
Ssumday chunked down to 200 HP, chugs a biscuit. It looks like the end right there to get himself healthy. Closer, splits crabs 1-1 with the Cloud9 jungler. So far, 20% of the way towards the win here on Blaber's side. See how many more he gets for now.
Gonna be really interesting to see where Ssumday goes with the build. You know, did get pushed back pretty early, picks up a Doran's Ring for some mana regen as well as the refillable. I'm expecting him to just go towards tank, but some players in these matchups, if you're gonna play more heavily for that 1v1, will go towards something like an Everfrost even at times, or some of those AP mythics.
Yeah, definitely do expect pretty heavy tank front line as far as 100 Thieves and how they build their teams around that late game team fighting, around FBI and Abbedagge. Speaking of which, Jensen with a really good shove here on the LeBlanc. The early stages of this LeBlanc Azir matchup going so well for him. Nice CS lead he's been able to accrue. Gets off an easy back for the early recall here as well. Double amp tomes, teleports right back out. And Blaber is on his second clear for the Nocturne.
And now with Abbedagge on no mana, he can try to push him back on an awkward timing, right? You can try to shove this in, force Abbedagge to base when it's not potentially a cannon wave there, but Abbedagge looking like he'll just try to clear this out and likely base on this wave to come back.
Exactly. Try and pressure him, lose out on every few CS does really matter. Another electrocute proc from Fudge as he tries to whittle down on Ssumday.
And Fudge is actually doing a really good job because he hasn't actually based yet. Abbedagge could be in some trouble here, but no Ignite means he's going to be okay to back it up. Because Fudge is still taxing the resources of Ssumday post-teleport. So if he can keep him locked in this lane, utilize the energy bar, just continue poking away, you are resourceless there on the Kennen, then you TP back, and you can really try to punish Ssumday when you have that full health plus a really good buy. Try to push Ssumday back on a bad time.
And TP comes in now for the mid lane. Abbedagge finally pushed back in. He's got not quite what he wants. He would love Lost Chapter. Can't make it happen. The bot side, Zven's gonna be slowed. Tag up for a bit, but will they kill him? Face rushes, move speed, they won't root him in place. Zven burns a summoner heal to stay alive.
He's staying cool, he's got the Teemo thumbs up, he knows he's gonna take damage mid lane, Blaber returns.
But how does Abbedagge get through this one? He's not level 6 just yet, the fear's gonna land, he flashes, he still gets feared! Nocturne's on the way, and knock! Death's door has arrived!
Abbedagge tried to wait so long to dodge out on the chain, but he gets caught by the fear by Blaber instead, waited too long on it. Cloud9 strike first.
Exactly, the tether there just barely not broken with the flash into Shifting Sands, and it is going to be mid-jungle duo with the first kill. It goes on to the Nocturne, and Blaber's not done. He's looking topside. Look at this roam from LeBlanc and Nocturne.
Fudge already ulted, Ssumday has his, so if someone pulls aggro, there's a chance he can lock him in turret.
There's no teleport from Azir, there's no help coming for Ssumday.
Got the passive shield, means bonus armor, flashed away from the tether, here comes the 3v1, LeBlanc is on, he ults in for the Kennen, who had aggro, but Fudge lives with 5 health left.
Cloud9 get it all, they get it in top lane, they get it in mid lane, Fudge barely surviving there, and Ssumday loses all of that wave. No TP, no flash, nothing he can do about it.
This is so big for slingshotting this Nocturne ahead. Blaber is now level 6 with the Nocturne 2, can repeat gank. There are, guess what, no flashes on either solo lane now. So Blaber is in the dream world for Nocturne right now. 100 Thieves, they do on the other side of it. Since you see the roam topside from mid and jungle, they will get the dragon in payment for the life of Ssumday.
And look at Blaber, he's moving towards mid lane right now. Has the ulti.
Ulti's on, but can they lock him down though underneath the turret? Ulti is available, but knows he gets spell shield if he needed to. Blaber is fine. Abbedagge burns nothing to get away. Jensen flash to follow.
Yeah, a little bit of a mistiming there from Cloud9. Need to let that chain be setting it up first. Jensen tries to flash in to make something happen with that play, but Abbedagge quick on the slide out.
Yeah, that was actually amazing for 100 Thieves to get the first Nocturne ultimate down. Big timing window now. And the flash from Jensen used. They can really feel the extra tension here. Game 1 of finals, really wanted to jump on that momentum that they built on both those solo lane kills.
And we haven't even really checked in on bot lane, but Berserker's opened up a 9 CS lead down in bot lane, so it's 3 winning lanes right now for Cloud9. This does mean that Blaber is going to kind of have the run of things in the jungle right now, but it's actually Ssumday starting up Herald as Closer is here around mid, and Blaber's back in base.
Ghost is on, ulti's on, chasing an FBI, can't jump any walls himself. Decent damage, they done a couple of the shots. Ultimately, FBI is able to just walk this one away. Huhi with the heal. Berserker down an ulti and a summoner for nothing.
Yeah, I love it. They're giving them a taste of their own medicine with these emotes as soon as they know they're not in danger. It will be, on the other side of the map, another neutral objective for 100 Thieves pick up. So Cloud9 getting these early kills, but 100 Thieves, they stay focused on the objectives here on the map. Picking up Rift Road on the top side is actually going to go a long way.
Yeah, I mean, getting both Dragon and Herald, I think you're completely fine with being down 1K for that. Especially when they do have, really, really good scaling here, obviously with the Azir, with the Sivir. 100 Thieves, I think, pretty happy with these first few minutes.
And a quick shield from Zven blocks the back half of the Boomerang Blade, but FBI is going to be down about 7 CS as the wave gets manicured out. Not a huge deal. And yeah, you mentioned the scoreboard at the very top, 1,000 gold versus the objectives, and with 100 Thieves, getting 300 gold once the Herald is summoned at the very least. It's looking pretty solid here. So a pretty close early game so far.
Yeah, I think the next steps for Cloud9 is try and leverage the advantage that they already got on the successful gank. The Nocturne and LeBlanc. Get Jensen roaming around with the timing for next Nocturne ultimate coming up. Paranoia, the cooldown is almost available here. Really good ward from 100 Thieves, has been able to scout out Blaber. But those two have so much power right now.
And finding a kill on that second ultimate is going to feel so important, especially after the first one really did not get you any rewards. When you're playing Nocturne, almost always it's rinse and repeat, ulti on cooldown, try to get a kill, and then just get back to power farming as fast as you can.
Plus, they're always thinking, I want to use it before Soraka gets level 6, but now Huhi just dings level 6, so they have the extra Soraka ultimate for safety, for protection on the 100 Thieves side.
Closer sneaks in from the brush. Smite Fight could be available. Only Cloud9 has it. He goes early. Claims it anyway, but a miss Smite all the same. Still 2 minutes on the drink to come up. A blue buff is stolen by the Cloud9 side.
And Cloud9 trying to use the prio that they have now to extend their advantage here. Jensen had Abbedagge zoned away on mid lane, was on the left side of your screen, and pushing him away from that blue buff. If a fight broke out, Jensen would always get there before Abbedagge, and that would likely mean it goes Cloud9's way.
Yeah, and refocusing on the 100 Thieves goals here, they're just trying to farm as much as they can on their Shurima carries. Azir and Sivir both funnel as much CS as you can into them. Malphite, yeah, you're going to be on tank duty up on top side. Soak up as much as you can without opening up too much of an opportunity for Cloud9.
Decent chain, decent damage, but Huhi's like, yeah, we're going to erase that one. Nice try, Jensen. I pressed W too, buddy.
The Soraka roam is the deadliest. Walks through mid lane, heals him up, walks away.
My job here is done. Ambulance has arrived. Turret plate almost about to fall off too. Jensen with the constant pushing here on LeBlanc, really pressuring the matchup from the word go.
And you can see that FBI is actually heading out towards top lane. The Herald's already down, but it looks like they're moving towards top lane to try to get Malphite out of this matchup where he's been struggling. Maybe set up a Herald play. Poppy's up in that top side jungle with Huhi. Send up FBI, push this in on Fudge, drop the Herald, and make sure that you can cash in before 14 minutes.
And I want to see how many turret plates Zeri actually gets for this, because that leaves Berserker bottom lane just chucking away at these turret plates. There's one knocked off already. Zven is even staying around to help him with it, buff him up, take it down even quicker.
Malphite could always be a threat, of course. Level 9 has a Bomby Cinder and enough AP to at least be a threat here as Blaber sees the top lane indeed under fire. 1v3, Fudge is coming back in. I don't think either side can win a fight around here. The turret would be too much, and you don't win a 2v3 against a healer. So it's going to be the wave going down. It's going to be a second turret plate, likely shared 3 ways. So 53 and a third gold each, not a huge deal, but as you're mentioning, bot lane's still under pressure as well. The 2v1 down there, the extra numbers creating extra pressure.
And committing that TP is really just trying to make sure that they can actually crack the full tower. They're hoping that they can maybe win that race on the bottom side or at the very least delay it. But again, Blaber getting pulled back up towards that top side to try to defend. They're going to look for the play.
Is going for top side, Kennen over the top, but it's not enough damage. Wish comes through, and Cloud9 wish they hadn't gone for this one. Helper's getting low, so I don't know who they don't get him just yet. Nocturne the flash through. The heal means one. The fear means a flash for the other. And Blaber has knocked him out. 2 versus 3.
Oh, Blaber's trying to chase them all down. He gets one of them in the 2v3 for Fudge and Blaber. The Nocturne Kennen combination, and they try and shove it right down 100 Thieves' throat, but a little bit of a wraparound. They're trying to catch the desynced recall. Let one go and catch the other one.
Fudge an easy way. Blue smite nearly finds the kill, but not there.
So smart from 100 Thieves there. They've got the vision of the wards. They wait for the desync on those recalls and strike at the precise moment.
Yeah, really, really intelligent stuff there. But still, Blaber and Fudge, they defend the tower, and they force 5 summoners with that fight. All 4 from the bot lane, plus the flash off of Closer there. That is a really big deal. Blaber, one of those players who is just historically always known his limits better than anyone else. You know, always playing to the edge, had the stride breaker and felt he could make the play.
Also, Nocturne is very snowbally early on in the game, and Blaber getting a lot of this early money. So let's take another look at it. They did have vision when he started. They sync the 2 cooldowns there. Exhaust was used to mitigate some of the damage.
Ooh, and Blaber got pushed off of Cloud Drake. He was soloing it, has tons of damage early on with the spell steal, the autos, but as 100 Thieves come down in time, it's 2 Drakes now to 100 Thieves. Sure, the Herald charge ended up only meaning 3 turret plates taken top. That's been about a wash with the C9 bottom pressure. But 1,000 gold difference is now a 2 Drake difference as well on the other side.
Exactly, pretty big here, 400 Thieves to be able to stack these dragons. Again, they're the team comp that wants to group up as 5, and then the #1 priority as they go later into the game, keeping track of Fudge. Somebody mark that Kennen, because when the lights go out with the paranoia, it's going to be very hard to stop that flank.
And you can see it in the FTX total gold. Berserker and Blaber topping the charts, just barely ahead there of FBI. Now, Ssumday is way down, but it's more okay on the Malphite. He doesn't need to be the focus here. You know, just working towards the tank mythic, needs to be that engaged, and honestly, your ult basically does the same whether they have 1 item or 5.
I like this build though, Stride Breaker on Nocturne. And we saw in the gold graph, right? Like he was, you know, top 2 gold of the game, higher than anyone else on 100 Thieves. Nocturne can solo people at equal level up in gold. If someone is alone, they are dying to paranoia.
Yeah, I think the next big goal for Cloud9 is try and get these side turrets down. And to do that, you need Herald. Get that charge so you can immediately get more territory to pick people off. LeBlanc, Nocturne, Kennen, all looking, you know, to play with more Fog of War.
And I completely, you know, agree with you, Phreak, when you're talking about that, and that's why there's been such a focus on vision, right? They have this big line of wards, these wards over the wall, all trying to cover potential areas, you know, that they would have to actually watch out for Nocturne from. And it's going to be this vision battle where Cloud9 are trying to constantly sweep out any forward wards, so Blaber can have good angles to actually ult from.
Sure, it's going to be going down there. It is Cloud9 who got second Herald themselves. So first turret of the game. That should be a race easily won by Cloud9. As long as you stay away, you're giving all this gold to Berserker, 450 onto him. Herald will not steal turret gold, only plate money, so Berserker off the race is 6,500.
The problem with trying to match on bottom side 2 for 100 Thieves, the Herald is going to get 2 towers in the time you get 1 tower. So Cloud9, really, really hyper-focused on that priority. Take down these outer towers for 100 Thieves, shove as deep as you can into their territory, to then move to stage 2 of the plan. Get those picks.
Absolutely, and I do wonder, you know, if they're going to be able to really find that team fight on the 100 Thieves side at this 3rd dragon, because I think that's where we're going to see Cloud9 say, all right, enough is enough. You got the first 2 dragons. We've established our gold lead. Now we're going to fight you at that 3rd dragon. And as long as Berserker has summoners and they can track Ssumday, he should be able to respond to that Malphite. And Malphite really is just going to be basically an ult, and that's it. And if you can't lock down the Zeri with the Malphite ult, I feel like it's going to be so hard for 100 Thieves to ever actually take him out.
Yeah, agreed. Just depends what the dive ends up looking like, if it does land or not. Berserker, it's going to be up to his toes, and Zven has the shields and the ulti to keep him alive even if it does land. Might be enough just space built with Fudge and Blaber diving in as well. It's going to be very fun to watch these team fights play out. 2,300 gold lead right now for Cloud9, moving up towards a very slow to kill 3rd dragon and mountain in 2 minutes.
Yeah, and I like their priority. They switch everybody away from the top side, try and push it in as quickly as they possibly can. 100 Thieves doing a good job, though, tracking Cloud9, not giving them an opening to get one of those picks. Burn those summoner spells, those flashes, before that dragon arrives.
Ward's killed. Mid lane once again taken by the AD carries. LeBlanc happier to side lane. Pretty good escape tools overall and probably not going to get caught up on anything as Fudge stays on the far side. Teleports will be up for every solo laner in time for this Mountain Drake fight in 75 seconds.
All right, keep your eyes peeled for any teleport flank wards. A ward for Fudge to teleport in on, as the cooldown on his Unleashed teleport is coming up pretty shortly here, could be devastating. And you see that little control ward there, that sneaker in the blue jungle area here of 100 Thieves. That could be the ward.
Okay. He saw it. Yeah. He goes back, because that would actually have been game-changing if he gets a flanking TP and they lose that fight off that. Berserker should have Hurricane now. He was actually sticking around, a little bit of a later back, but still 45 seconds before the Dragon. Should be on his second item here. He has really been accelerated out into this game. Sells the call, and that should give him combination gold here. There it is. He's going to be on 2 items. FBI will not be able to actually get to that mark, I don't think, unless he can pick up some jungle camps or something prior to that fight.
Seems unlikely. Cole's 180 free gold, and he got donated a lot of money. Yeah, we're actually about there. 650 for a Phantom Dancer combined, I think. So should be pretty close in the ability to do so if he's willing to get the recall off. But we're going to see our fight going on pretty soon as we are into the bottom river. 15 seconds of Mountain Drake. 100 Thieves would be on soul point, and it would stymie so much of what Kennen and Nocturne want to do with those tank stats.
And look at this LeBlanc setting up on the bottom side, trying to find a flanking angle in from the side. They're going to look for the pincer play here. Jensen has not been spotted.
Timing on the exhaust from a huhi on this Kennen too. Mark the Kennen. Big AoE damage possible.
Cloud9 getting the river first. Ssumday on a ward, but he's going to kill it and get rid of the fog. Can he find the right dive? Jensen seen with the ward over the wall. No sweeper available to get rid of that one, but Drake is being started. Ssumday hits the front line. No one's on a flank angle. Cloud9 are spotted. Poke for Abbedagge means very little. Huhi's safe enough for now. Fudge feints it, doesn't go in. His flash, the only tool available. Closer actually burns the ulti. Long cooldown, hits no one. Shock hits FBI, he spell shields it. Jensen still waiting in the wings. Again, this time kills the ward. Will Kennen go for a flash ulti over the wall? Is he walking for the flank? He is. 100 Thieves have low time. Huhi's at half health. Nocturne turns off the lights. The move speed comes in. Here's the dive. Shuffled out, still hits 3. And Jensen kills Abbedagge. Cloud9 in for more. Jensen will not die. Blaber will stopwatch. A trade 2 for 1. Huhi flashing out. Jensen gets the 3rd. A 4th chase down by Berserker. And Closer is the last man standing. Runs for the hills, and Cloud9 get what they want.
The patience on Fudge there. Under the cover of darkness, he gets the flank on Kennen. Even with Abbedagge seeing him with the Azir ult, trying to push him out, he still flash forward, gets the AoE down, and Cloud9 get their fight.
And I would love to see this replay from the 100 Thieves POV, because that is where it really shows you the terror of this combination. Being able to see Jensen on the side, they sweep out the ward. They have an idea that Fudge is going to be coming around from this angle, but they don't know the exact timing. They're not sure when it's going to happen. When the lights turn off, it's all chaos because you lose total sight of this upper ward area. Fudge is coming down. You see him now. You see that in goes Nocturne from the side. He flashes in. They try to disengage it with the Azir ultimate, but Fudge is still in the middle of everyone, and the Lulu ult knocks up 3.
Huge stuff there. And then with all the focus on that Kennen and Nocturne on the front lines, Berserker is just free firing on the Zeri, running them down.
Really beautiful. I can't do anything but hand it to Abbedagge, who did play that fight perfectly. You can only rely on your own vision. Your wards turn off, your teammate's vision turns off. He's the one who's like, he's coming from top side, saw it, scooped in time, and there was still, yeah, he's down to only 2,000 damage, but it's still 2,000 damage setting up for Berserker, and now we get a fight in the top river, and Zven is able to flash, barely staying alive.
Critical, he's able to stay alive there. 100 Thieves, though, trying to establish vision control here around the Baron. They are very far down. They know they cannot afford to give over a free Baron to Cloud9. That would likely spell the end of game 1.
And they have to be very worried about the next 3.5 minutes, because that's where Cloud9's comp actually has an even bigger advantage in picking off people without summoner spells. The team fights are huge and meaningful, but yet the time in between where Nocturne gets to threaten and pick you off while you spent all your summoner spells during the team fight is actually terrifying.
And it's so tough because they didn't even get the flash off Berserker in that team fight. Yes, he used the ghost, but they were never even able to force that. So it's not like you can say, oh, well, it's a free Malphite ult. They're going to look on the side.
Scoop. There's no way you're going to survive this one. It's 3v1. Nocturne flies in, but he's against the crown. so he gets nothing done. I think you hold this one, try to find your way back in afterwards. Closer, dodge the chain. The entire team is here, and though FBI ults, they cannot keep up with the rest of Cloud9, just the 1-for-0.
That's huge props to 200 Thieves taking control of the map, because they know if we split up, the Nocturne's going to pick us off while we're weak. So they make the pick first. They take it to Cloud9 and get at least something.
And it's really smart because they know Fudge for sure had no flash. He has no way to actually respond to that Malphite ultimate, so good targeting there. But it's pretty terrifying. IE Gold is almost in for Berserker. He already has the BF and the pickaxe. He's got another 1,500 on top, so basically is going to have that when he goes back to base. And FBI is falling very far behind that curve. This Berserker on Zeri is going to be such a monster. It's been one of, if not his best champion all year long. Has been so impressive every single time he breaks it out. He has Zven in the back pocket for the Enchanter. IE complete now at a really fast clip. It's his game to win.
And everyone's running at Mach 3 at this one. Berserker's got Ghost in his ulti, but both supports have Shrelius here to speed them up. And it's like, hey, if Malphite's diving in, we got to be there in time while they're stunned. If Kennen's diving in, I want to hit him while they're locked up. So this is going to be just everyone slamming together. Or sometimes one team running away really fast.
Yeah, Berserker gets the benefit from having such a fearsome front line where all 100 Thieves are thinking about the flanks and the Kennen and trying to disengage this Nocturne and, you know, attack on all sides. And so he gets the freedom to have double mobility summoner spells chasing them all down.
Absolutely. I mean, it's a great point. It's very difficult because if all of 100 Thieves try to pile in and kill off Berserker, which you kind of have to do when he's this strong, and you ignore the Kennen flank, like that is going to roast you. So it's a very difficult situation now for 100 Thieves. They need to control vision. They need to make sure that they're marking the flankers and really creating space for FBI and Abbedagge, because the Sivir and the Azir need time to win them the team fights.
Second through on the mage here. Jensen has himself a Void Staff. We are halfway between Banshees and a Death Cap, or something similar on Abbedagge, as he's got just some MR via the Verdant Barrier, but Banshees does not build from NLR, so we'll see what the build turns into. Two components on the Azir, 2 out of Spike in for LeBlanc.
And I love this Nocturne build that's been really popular is the Anathema's Chain second coming in. At this point in the game, you need to get tankier as well as just focusing on those two main carries. Azir and Sivir scale so well. If you strap that thing on one of them, then you're gonna get a much longer CC chain on them with the tenacity reduction and reduce the damage to be able to stick on them longer as well and further help those Kennen stuns.
Absolutely, and they're looking for closer now.
Yeah, but he's going to be running away with the W on Sivir, saves the ulti, able to sidestep Kennen Q, meaning he's not able to be stunned.
And the Anathemas is actually strapped onto FBI right now, so he's going to be looking for him, looking for that extended fear duration. The spell shield timing is so critical when you're playing against that Nocturne. You're being able to choose the right spell to block, but there's also a LeBlanc, there's a Kennen on top of you. It feels almost impossible to really hit the key spell.
You can see though, look at the timer tick down. Last Mountain Drake was a standoff. It was a white knuckle, like who's gonna get it fight, and it was barely Cloud9. We fast forward 5 minutes, and 100 Thieves are like, nah, dog, that is yours. See ya. We'll play for the top river, but we know we're not winning these ones. They're playing for wards.
Exactly. Cloud9 are so much richer now, 100 Thieves. This is the correct choice for 100 Thieves, though. They can't walk out into the river, into that danger zone again, and afford to be flanked like that. So they try and get at least something. And if wards is all you can get on the other side of the map, then that's all you can get.
And time is what their early dragons has afforded them, right? Because there's no pressure of a soul this early on. They grabbed the first 2 dragons. Pushing Blaber off that second actually becomes very critical now. Otherwise, it would have been Cloud9 on soul points. So 100 Thieves do have time to be able to buy that Sivir space, to get an IE, to be able to buy the Azir time to potentially get a death cap.
Yeah, 100 Thieves are saying, all right, we farm for late, we are scaling, try and group S5. Everybody take a buddy so that you'll have sight, be able to cuddle together there during the Nocturne ultimates and keep an eye on that Kennen. And this is the time to revisit what you guys were talking about earlier, these ward lines from 100 Thieves, trying to keep track of Cloud9 constantly so that they don't get that big engage.
Seeing it right now. Cloud9 saying, you know what, we got the power spike still. I see Sivir doesn't have an Infinity Edge, so cool. What's it looking like? We're up a full item on our AD carry. Thank you very much. What are we looking at with the Baron still getting burned down? 8,000 health. Look for the Malphite. Look for the jungler. Ssumday coming around. Does he get a good target? Jensen, you can see Fudge waiting in the wings as well. Has his own flash, but you can see goes safely away. Nocturne turns off the lights. They're going to try to burn down the Baron. Over the wall. The miss smite from Closer is too early. And here comes Malphite. Hits one. Just the Kennen though. And he's got backup. No kills so far. Blaber saved. Tanky enough. 300 health. And it's Closer dropping without flash available. It's Baron and a 1 for nothing.
Berserker.
And Cloud9 are not done.
They're hungry. Berserker wants more, and he serves up 2 for Jensen. Gets a 3rd for himself, and that's the Bud Light Ace. That could be game 1.
Cloud9 are going down mid, and they are going for the win.
Only 27 minutes into game number 1 of the LCS Finals here in Chicago, and Cloud9 dominate.
Cloud9 already got what they wanted. They got a pick, they got a Baron, and Berserker said, I want more, and he'll take everything. 100 Thieves defeated in game 1. Cloud9, 2 away from a championship.
What an incredible game 1 performance from Cloud9. The only doubters were asking questions. How is Cloud9 going to come out the gates? They didn't get to play in front of this crowd here yesterday. Would they be able to adjust to the stage right off the bat? Would they have a slow start? Emphatically, no. They are ready to go. They start up the Baron. They find the turn. They crush the team fight. They close the game.
And all playoffs long, Cloud9 have been rewarded for a lot of these extra picks that they bring to the table. First it was the Ashe support from Zven with the extra vision control. Then it was the Kennen from Fudge, and layering it with these Nocturne ultimates. The paranoia was used so effectively both times. The dragon fight and baiting at the Baron. Because as soon as Blaber turns off the lights and the paranoia, Closer thinks, okay, they're burning the Baron while there's no vision, so he flashes in. The Baron is still such high health that he can't combo it, he can't burn it down, and they stop DPS on it.
Absolutely. I mean, it's a really difficult situation. We can see everything. He can't see anything at all. And I've got to say, the Malphite really didn't feel like it ever really accomplished much, right? I think it was like fine in the lane, but it was losing. Then he actually gets dove. He's way down. They never even forced flash out Berserker that entire game until he used it offensively to end the game, right? Yeah. They were never really able to access that Zeri. So I think it's back to the drawing board on the top lane pick, because if you're playing against Zeri, you need hard engage. But the Malphite just wasn't it.
Is it back to banning the Kennen? They had to ban the Kennen in 3 of the games following their defeat in the first matchup that they had.
Yeah, I mean, if you come in saying, okay, we have the prep, we think it's Malphite, and it's not it, okay, well, sorry, you did your homework, but turns out you copied the wrong answers on the notes. Something, I don't know what it was, but it didn't work out. Do you want to point one thing, though, speaking of the Kennen? Fudge's 100th LCS victory was game 1 of this final. So Fudge missed 100, going for 102 on the weekend.
Yep, yeah, gonna be looking for it for sure. I feel like you just can't give Berserker Zeri. This guy is too good on the champion. His mechanics are too insane in the team fights, and it gives him so much agency. Like, the control is always in the Zeri's hands, and unless Berserker messes up, you're not gonna be able to do anything about it, and that's not something you want to bet on.
No, you don't. Well, we got more to play, though. We have never had a 3-0 in this playoff run. Almost every single one's gone a 3-2, so you know we're gonna have a long show here today. But for now, gonna head over to the State Farm analyst desk.
Thank you so much, Phreak, as Cloud9 picks up game 1 of the series. And sorry for that extra minute of fill you guys had to do while we sprinted across the arena. That game ended so quickly, it caught us off guard backstage.
We also ran past the C9 guys, like, as we were booking it. Zven just is just like, what the?
Yeah, they were dodging us.
Like, they were like, what is going on? So we're just running past them.
They ended it so quickly and so dominantly. You know, once they found their fight, once they found their angle, caught us off guard. But we've got Blippo back on the desk, and we want to pick his brain as much as we can here in terms of how game 1 broke down. I mean, obviously a lot of eyes are going to go to the last few picks of champions like here. We got the Kennen Malphite match. We got the Nocturne locked in for Blaber. That Soraka, that huhi was willing to show us yesterday. What are your thoughts?
I actually really like the Malphite. I think it made a lot of sense. It's a counter pick that hasn't been seen much. It's very much in 100 Thieves style. It's very great against Zeri. That said, the Nocturne actually, even though he found 2 kills early game, I feel like that was more blunders on 100 Thieves side. His first ultimate was completely blundered as well, so I didn't actually quite like what I saw. Poppy managed to get both the Herald and the first dragon, as well as the second dragon, and that's where I was a bit concerned for Cloud9. However, that said, their laning phase was really solid. They managed to get into a situation where they had a gold lead.
Who gave that man a cannon?
Managed to win the 3rd Drake fight, and from there, the advantage was too big.
Yeah, I think that was the kind of how the draft gave the teams what they needed to do. C9, obviously, more 1-3-1 threat. They have the laning advantage. They're trying to snowball. With the Azir Sivir, you have this late-game scaling threat as well as the frontline Malphite. So it was a question of, could C9 get enough of a lead? And it was back and forth over the whole game because you had that bit where there was, yeah, you got the 2 kills, but most of the early game objectives were still going 100 Thieves' way.
Yeah, what did you make of that, Emily? The fact that Cloud9 seemed very willing to let those couple early objectives go uncontested in favor of getting into lanes and messing with the laning state.
I think they could have run into trouble if 100 Thieves hadn't decided to contest, I believe it was, what, third Drake. It was third Drake, the third Drake fight. I think if that fight hadn't gone the way it did, and we'll see that pulled out in a bit, here we're going to see Blaber's kind of early movement around the map. Ssumday actually almost makes this back.
For me, the most important moment of the game is actually the top lane 2v3, where Fudge and Blaber both managed to turn around the situation in the game. Like, this obviously all early game stuff. Oh, we're not going to see the replay, but I thought that was a very important moment to stop down 100 Thieves from gaining gold on their scaling picks. But obviously in this fight, a little bit too early, I think, for the 100 Thieves carries to really come in and deal the damage, because they were playing with Poppy Malphite. So too few damage threats in order to win a third Drake fight. Even singling out one person is not going to win you the fight. And in this fight, Abbedagge gets one shot.
Yeah, the problem that they have is he actually gets the Azir ult onto the Kennen there, but you saw that the knockup didn't actually push him back because of geometry. It would have put him not far enough into the wall to actually put him on the other side, so the game puts him on the same side, which means he doesn't actually get knocked back at all. Kennen still landed a 3-man ultimate there, and to Whippo's point, this was the moment where C9 had kind of all in on, like, the Zeri was just on 2 items, so they had a small item advantage. The Nocturne was stacking health, knowing that he's just like a heat-seeking missile going in there, and if that had been peeled correctly and 100 Thieves either withstood that or just sacked that objective, the scaling might have taken over.
Even the map is C9 favored. Oh, that is so close.
How many Zeris are going to secure Barons this weekend? What the heck?
It was super unfortunate, because in this fight, it's clearly losing after they lose the fight, and they try to re-engage to see what happens, but because of the hesitation here, Zeri's been stacking her ultimate constantly closer in the pit, and we all know once Zeri reaches critical mass, there is no stopping her. So when Berserkers ease in here, I think everyone was expecting a pinnacle angle, but not on Jensen's watch. Not on Jensen's watch, but that was very much a pinnacle.
Jensen was not going to allow that to happen. But yeah, obviously this is the game-winning fight. They pushed down. We had to sprint past them on their way out after winning the game. We're going to see this Drake fight again, just to go over what Mark is talking about with this Azir wall. While we do talk over this, I think one thing that I would like to ask you, Whippo, is out of 100 Thieves, since you've kind of said it wasn't necessarily the comp you disliked, but a lot of the execution and some early mistakes, what would you have liked to see from them around this Drake fight? Because as we were talking behind the scenes, this was the fight that we kind of both said, like, okay, this is where the game breaks open a bit more.
I actually think 100 Thieves gained a lot of confidence from winning Drake fights that they weren't supposed to, and this was one of those situations where they're going into a third Drake fight where everyone looks like everyone presses stab. They're like, yeah, I'm pretty sure this is losing. Like, all the spectators agree. Everyone's like, yeah, I don't think they should fight this Drake, considering they already have 2 in the bank. They're playing a Malphite, Sivir, Soraka, Azir. They outscale in literally every single role at this point. Even Poppy's going to be more useful than an Anathema's Chain's Nocturne later. And that said, they just have so much confidence that they're going to outplay other teams in a 5v5 environment that they just decide, you know what, we're going to pull the trigger, look proactively for this fight 5v5, and they get punished by C9.
I think the question that comes after that then is, do you want to see a change in draft where you say, okay, we want to take these earlier Dragon fights, let's draft more early power, less scaling, and then we can take these fights at less of a disadvantage? Or would you rather see them stick with the scaling option and just adapt the gameplay?
I'm not 100% sure. It depends on what side they choose. There you go. 100 Thieves chooses blue side. So I think it'll be very much more about securing a power pick in the top lane on blue side. I think Ssumday right there is going to be a very important man to watch. What is he going to blind pick against Fudge? Because Fudge does have a lot of counter picks prepared. So I don't know if it'll just be the staple Aatrox or Renekton and just run that. Personally, given what Fudge has shown, I would say you should go for the Renekton. I think he has counter picks, but they're not like lane dominant counter picks, and that's exactly what 100 Thieves wants. A little bit more early game, just to make sure when you walk into those 3rd and 4th Drakes, you've got a Renekton type champion to really secure those objectives and power spike right at those Drakes.
And out of Ssumday specifically, I know something that we've sometimes been a little critical of him on the desk is actually something you talked about previously, where a lot of the times, even if he ends up with a counter pick and he's picking it and it looks like a lane dominant one, he does end up joining the team for team fights. So this is a 2-part question. The first is, how much did you like the Malphite for Ssumday specifically, knowing it's a champion where he's going to be going in and 5v fighting? And then the second thing is, what would you like to see him pick? Like, is a Renekton, as you pointed out, something that you would think would also contribute to that, where he's joining the team rather than side laning?
So specifically against Fudge, it seems like C9 is having somewhat of a early game advantages in the lanes. They're playing quite well. I would say that running into a Camille when you're blind picking something like Ornn, or running into something like a Fiora when you're blind picking Aatrox seems quite scary. Blind picking Renekton and playing a Renekton into tank matchup seems more up 100 Thieves alley of what they want. That said, I do think the Malphite pick suited 100 Thieves. I think it was great at stopping LeBlanc from finding assassinations. It's great at stopping Kennen from coming in. The problem is they started picking 5v5s match before Sivir and Azir really hit a point where they did enough damage that they had to be killed immediately, and Malphite could hold his ultimate. In fact, I would say that the moments where they were picking the fights, Malphite somewhat needed a multi-man ult in order to win, rather than just singling out LeBlanc when she goes in, or Kennen when he goes in, and just one-shotting them. You saw it, we used the Azir ult to stop the Kennen rather than the Malphite ult to focus him and burst him down in the fight, and that really shows that they didn't feel like they had enough damage to take over a 5v5 after the Kennen dies.
Now, Mark, I love expert analysis. I just didn't realize we were going to get expert analysis from the fans here in the arena. We saw that set of fans there. Tracking the number of crabs secured for Blaber was 5 in game 1. We know that's the benchmark to get the victory. Cloud9 gets it done in game number 1. 100 Thieves looking to strike back in game number 2. Now, if you need to watch the finals from your phone, Verizon 5G has you covered. Now you can get Verizon's best unlimited price ever with the Welcome Unlimited plan for nationwide 5G access. Plus, get Verizon Up Rewards, which includes tickets to events like the LCS Finals. So scan that QR code on your screen. Join us at the next one and make sure you sign up. That is going to do it for us here. We're heading to a quick break. When we come back, it's game number 2 between 100 Thieves and Cloud9. See you then.
What were you thinking with that? Here's the dive, shuffled out, still hit 3, and Jensen kills Abbedagge. Cloud9 in for more. Jensen will not die. Blaber will stopwatch. A trade 2 for 1. Huhi flashing out. Jensen gets a 3rd, and Cloud9 are not done. They're hungry. Berserker wants more, and he serves up 2 for Jensen. Gets a 3rd for himself, and that's the Bud Light Ace. That could be game 1.
They give us love. They give us joy. They give us lessons in sharing. So give them some love back. And what says love better than something you can chew on? Use your MasterCard to make secure purchases from anywhere. So your gift will end up in the right hands or mouth. Because being there for each other is priceless.
Yeah, that's the most I can give you.
Fine. Then it's time for the ace up my sleeve. My beloved squishy pig with
original holographic cover art.
Hey, Ash, what you selling?
Save the references, Jake from State Farm. I'm saying goodbye. This little piggy went to the game store.
You don't have to sell your favorite games. State Farm has coverage options, so you get a rate that fits your budget.
Thanks, Jake. Hands off the squish.
For surprisingly great rates that fit any budget, like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. Call or click to get a quote today.
This is a league built on speed and precision, where everything needs to perform at a pro level, especially your hardware.
They block the road. They want to complete the final piece of the puzzle. They don't have enough damage for it, but who cares? It's all a formality, baby. The winner of LCS Lock-In.
Even if you're hard stuck plat, like me, forever. Roccat, the official mouse and keyboard of the LCS.